that and more as we get up with you. Come on. Look at the squad we got rolling today. We got a ton of football. McNutt and I are twinning. I love everything about it. Wendy is up with us early this morning as well. Lots of great basketball, and some of it was played right here in New York City, where the red-hot San Antonio Spurs and Victor Wembanyama came to the Garden, bringing an 11-game win streak. And Monica, here's just a little taste of the big baguette early in the action in the first quarter, where the Spurs jumped out to a lead.
Yes, look, he played well. He played well. Goodness gracious, when he does stuff like this, all you can say is, oh, man.
So the Spurs jumped to the early advantage, but then, Allen, it would be Jalen Brunson starting to take over. He would score 24, much of it late in this first quarter run.
The Knicks went on a 19-0 run that bridged the first and second quarters, and that really was the game.
Second quarter, Knicks continuing to turn defense into offense. Mikal Bridges had a really good game, takes it the length of the floor. Knicks open that advantage to 8 points. Now, late in the third quarter, I'm going to show you something only one human being in history has ever been able to do.
Don't jump!
Oh, my God. What do we want to say about Monica? Give us some insightful analysis of this.
In the words of Kiki Palmer, sorry to that man as far as OG Anunoby is concerned.
He's the only person alive who could do it, but that was pretty much all they had. The Spurs looked like a team that had run out of gas at the end of a long road trip, which they've been on. That was Mikal Bridges turning steals into points. He scored 25. He dishes this one for Landry Shamet, and the Knicks go on to cruise to a fairly easy win. 114-89 is the final. And so the Knicks, when I came back from my vacation last week, I'm surrounded by Knicks fans like John Fink, our coordinating producer, telling me they stink, they're awful, everything is horrible, we should only be talking about Giannis. P.S. They've won 14 of their last 18 games, tied for the best record in the East since late January. They're outscoring their opponents by nearly 13.5 points per game, which is the best in the league in that stretch. It just goes to show you fans can ride very high and very low on these roller coasters. Almost seems, Wendy, on a day-in, day-out basis. What are the right things to say? Let's start with the New York side of it. What are the right things to say about them today?
Yeah. Knicks fans are going to have to make a decision with this team. You're going to have to decide on half empty or half full, because there are going to be nights like yesterday where they look awesome. They have 10 25-point wins this season. That is a team that is very powerful. If you hold Mikal Bridges to the standard you think he's going to be Scottie Pippen, which he looked like yesterday, there's going to be nights when you get disappointed. If you hold Karl Towns to the standard he's going to be Tim Duncan, and by the way, he had his 41st double-double yesterday, there's going to be nights when you get disappointed. But when the Knicks are at the top of their game, and I just want to point out that for the last month, they've been in the top 5 in defense consistently. At the top of their game, they can win the East. They can be a serious threat to it in the finals, just like you could see the Spurs in the finals, a team they have now beaten twice this season. But they are not this team every night, and that's going to keep you on your toes.
No one knows that better. Again, I remind anyone around the country, Allen and Monica, you're with them day in and day out. So, Monica, I'll start with you. I mean, the Knicks, all that really matters here, Knicks fans believe this is their year. When you look at the conference and everything else, at least to get to the finals. What are you seeing from them on a daily basis?
Well, it's funny because I'm asked for keys going into the game when I get ready to call the radio. My next key for the duration of the season is finding some level of consistency to Wendy's point. This group is incredibly talented. One thing that we have seen is they seem to go as the three-point shot goes, because it can go to hell in a handbasket with them very quickly, even in terms of their mental focus on the other end of the floor when they're not shooting the three well. But that really has largely been the tale of the matchup with the Spurs. Three-point shooting and offensive rebounding. And the times that the Knicks have shot the ball well and dominated the glass, they got the win. In December, when they got the loss, they gave up 36 to Julian Champagnie from 3.
Yeah, that game was an unbelievable game, too. Look, if you're a Knicks fan, what you're hoping for is you can get out of the East, and then you're hoping that the Spurs are waiting for you in the final, because that's the team that you know you can beat, because they beat them in the NBA Cup final. They just beat them on Sunday. And that game that Monica's referencing in San Antonio was a wild one. Both teams over 130 points. And it took Champagnie having a career day at three-point range for them to get the win. But this is a top 10 offense, top 5 offense. This is a top 10 defense now. This is a team that has gotten their defense right over the last couple of weeks. And so when they play that way, they give you that type of championship feel. And I'll also add, in a year like this, they give you a championship feel.
Yeah, and the defense point is so great, Han, because I'll be honest, Greeny, I have personally been critical of watching that stat versus the eye test, Last night was the 12th time this season that they've held a team under 100 points. Like, they actually are putting it together on both sides of the floor. But the magic sauce in life, as Wemby said, is finding a consistent level.
Right.
Perhaps, and this is the time to do it, right? I mean, you're working your way now into the final stretch. And then how about on the other side of it? Wembanyama had a moment or two yesterday, Wendy, but the Spurs, I saw it in your notes, and they looked like a team that had been on the road for a very long time. What do we say about this team that had won 11 consecutive games and it has a guy who can do things like that?
Yeah, they've had this incredible rodeo road trip where they haven't played a game in San Antonio since February 7th. But they all this 11 games, all of these games were on the road. They played a couple of games in Austin that were quote unquote home games. But this has been a tremendous run for them. This is a noon game. They've been in New York City 3 days. Also, here's the thing about the Spurs. When they don't shoot three-pointers well, and they were 9 of 34 yesterday, that's when you can get them. They are a very high variance three-point shooting team. We saw them in Detroit the other day have a great shooting game, and they pounded the Pistons. If they don't shoot the three well, they can be beaten. That's if their season ends short of the finals, it will probably be because, at least in part, they're three-point shooting.
And their youth. Just quick takes here, and we'll have time for a lot more later. Spurs right now, I mean, we were talking about them last week as though a team that could make a deep run in the West. What are your thoughts right this minute, Monica?
100% they can. I don't think that's outlandish, but I'm still leaning on the history. They don't have the experience.
Yeah. Again, we've never seen a team not have any playoff experience with their core and win a championship, but there's always a first time with a guy like that.
That's
you can always believe.
All right, there's a lot of hoops to...
He is Gary Streisky.
I would mash some Popeyes.
I would crush some Popeyes. We get Victor Wembanyama. The Spurs, they won 11 in a row, taking on Jalen Brunson. And the Knicks, and in the first quarter, all Brunson. Tying it up after the free throw, and then Brunson coming off the screen. He had 24 points, 3 of them there. He scored the final 11 points of the first quarter by himself, part of a 26-2 run that Mikal Bridges would eventually cap off. This isn't even the cap. This is just part of the 19-0 run. Bridges, the steal, and the score. Spurs, only 41 points in the first half. Their fewest in a first half this season. They're down 10 at the break. They won 11 in a row. If they're going to make it 12, I mean, they better get going. Cat leaning into Wemby. Okay, little flop. Maybe that starts it. Karl Anthony Towns has something to say.
7'4", 260.
Not true. I mean, I don't know how the metric system translates, but he's 7'4", 235 officially is Wembanyama. Cat 7 foot 241.
Insane numbers.
We're not here to
no matter what.
We're not here to weight gauge. That is Wemby thrown down on OG Anunoby. Got his finger caught in the neck.
Dangerous.
That looks scary. Not gonna lie to you. Wemby 25 and 13. That's Josh Hart triple. Yep. Josh Hart 10 points. Only 4 for 14 from the field, but Mikal Bridges active on the defensive end. 5 steals to go with the 25 points. Led the Knicks to the win. Here's Wemby pregame.
Oh my God! You was cold, sugar. Oh my God, oh, bless you. Oh my goodness.
Contrary to popular belief, that was not video of Monica McNutt talking to Victor Wembanyama before the game.
You a little upset he didn't stop to say something back, Monica?
Yeah.
When you called him with a tall glass of sugar?
That is true. People say New Yorkers are rough and unkind. That's not true. Our crew at the Garden is very kind. They embrace folks. They're just welcoming him in awe.
All right. Well, considering how tall of a cup of sugar he is, how were the Knicks, Monica, able to dominate the boards against the Spurs, who have been so good at that this season?
You know, Randy, there's a unique thing that happens, I think, in this particular matchup. Karl Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson are just tough covers for Victor Wembanyama. Yes, we saw the highlights, and he got a couple of dunks off. But in general, Karl Anthony Towns is able to move him away from the rim, which creates other opportunities for the Knicks to get to the glass. And Mitchell Robinson himself is a professional rebounder that he takes a ton of pride in that. And so I just think the spacing that the Knicks were able to create in terms of getting Wemby away from that rim, and also the two of them, Towns and Robinson, the physicality, not as tall, but I do think they're probably a little stronger. You look at their shoulders, they're a little bit broader, and I think that bothered Wembanyama.
It's a great win for New York, playing against a team who is so good in the Western Conference, in the Spurs, who just reeled off 11 wins in a row. Randy does have a creatine guy. The Spurs haven't had a true home game, Monica, since February 7th. They're 43-17. How do you feel about their NBA championship chances?
Trendy note right now, creatine is great for your brain health. Anyway, all right, Spurs and the NBA championship chances. Listen, guys, Is this team fantastic? Are they doing things that we have not seen behind Victor Wembanyama? Do they have guards that can defend and take a lot of pride in it? Yes. Now, their three-point shooting is a little bit of a variance. The Knicks shot the three well. They did not last night. That basically has been the story of the regular season games. Here's the thing for me, though. None of this group has experience outside of Harrison Barnes, and I'm talking about Mitch Johnson, who should be a Coach of the Year candidate in earnest, but they just don't have experience. If you were going to buck what has been a historic trend in the NBA, Victor Wembanyama is the ingredient to allow you to do it. But if you run into a team that can shoot and can rebound, it seems like it might spell disaster for the Spurs so far.
There's also a recent trend in the NBA, last couple of decades. If you can get to 40 wins before 20 losses, you are a legit title contender. That's been the case, and certainly the Spurs fit that bill. Monica McNutt making us smarter and stronger with the creatine.
She's human creatine.
It balances out the sugar. Thank you, Monica.
Human creatine.